it took me about 6 months planning and designing, but finally got to starting the wiring for the solar power in the cargo trailer. And my plan was to try to do as much indoors that I could take it then out. So what I did, just going along here, and I'll show you each one individually, but the idea was that in the future, that if I ever needed to replace something, repair something, it would be easy. And I'll show you what I mean. This is the AC/DC distribution box. And just to make my life easy, I put some of those invisible or hidden hinges on the side. Now this will be going above the refrigerator up near the ceiling. So if I ever need to add new lines or anything, I can just open it up like a cabinet door, get behind it, and to stick the wires in instead of trying to do it blind. So that's the distribution. Then we have the inverter. Now, it also sits up like this solar charger there. But this thing weighs a ton, so I didn't want to sit it up. And the idea, and let me just go over to the solar charger, that once I get it out to the trailer, I have the base and what's holding the solar charger. So I can just drill some holes and attach it to the exterior wall of the cargo trailer and the floor of the cargo trailer. So if I ever need to replace it, unhook the wires, unhook a few screws, bring it in, put the new solar controller on, take it back out. And because this is so heavy, I didn't want to sit it up, because that also gets screwed to the wall, screwed to the floor. And then I have, everything that goes with it all together. There's a switch, exterior switch. So that's the inverter. It's a 3,000 watt system with about a little over 1,000 watts of solar coming in. There's the monitor for the solar. And then here's all the wiring. And it also has the DC to DC controller. So I can hook the battery from the tow vehicle to it. Now, we probably went over the top here. And I'll put a link in the description. I'll try to have a card drop in where I sourced all the material for the solar. I have a video on that. But as far as going over the top, every positive line has either a fuse or a circuit breaker. Now this is going to be under the refrigerator in front of the 4 batteries. So anytime a fuse goes, a circuit breaker trips, I can just get down on the floor, open the door, and right there, the circuit breaker, fuse. I can see them all right away, replace them, and then if anything needs repaired, simply unscrew this from the floor, bring it into the house, and do whatever repair. Now on the video about where I sourced everything, I did include a couple things. I'm just a little, I know it's only 12 volts going up to the distribution box and to the solar controller, but I wanted to be able to shut off the solar panel to the whole system. So I put that in, and until I get it outside and wire everything up, right here is going to go another switch to turn off all the juice going from the batteries to the distribution box, the 12 volt. So I can shut off the 12 volt, 2 different, one, the solar going to the solar controller, and cutting off the 12 volt going to the distribution box. And then, of course, just having the inverter shut off. There'll be no 110 going to the distribution box I showed you at the beginning. So, next step and the rest of this video will be after I have it hooked up in the cargo trailer and hopefully working. Well, it took 10 months, but we finally have power in the cargo trailer. So let's take a look and see what we got here. Okay, let's start with down below. May have to crawl down to get a shot of this. Okay, there's the board that I did that was shown previously in the video. So everything's wired up there, ready to go. And behind them, see if we can get this float down a little bit. There's the 405 amp a piece batteries that go with it. Now, sorry, I'm not that good at this gimbal. Behind this wall here, going up to the rest of the electric, I ran a bunch of wires. Okay, sorry about that. Up to here. Now, what's going to happen here? This space is going to be the refrigerator. Now for down below, it's going to have a lid covering the batteries, and we sourced absorbing pad just in case the refrigerator has any issues, condensation, something spills, that this pad is going to absorb any liquid that goes through before it even hits the probably 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch piece of plywood I'm going to put on top of the batteries. And then we go up here. Okay. I really like these bus bars that I found. Found them on Amazon, and anything I talk about, I'll put a link down below. And my wife was nice enough to take a wood burner. K is for the kitchen lights, LR is for living room, DR dining room, BR bedroom. So we have all the positive lines there and all the grounding lines over there. So I think it looks pretty well dressed up. Some of the more loose wires you see going off towards the ceiling, those will get dressed up. Therefore the interior lights. And there's the back of the switch that I'm about to show you, the main switch. And over here is the other switch, the battery monitor, and the on-off switch for the inverter. And I'll show you the other side. Plus, I put a 110 line in the back here. That's going to be for the refrigerator when we put it in. Now, going around to the side, there's the distribution box. Both AC and DC are in there. So what's nice about this setup, I think I may have said in an earlier part of this video, I was talking about putting the distribution box on like a hinge so I could get at it. And that, the more I thought about it, was going to be too much of a pain. So I just cut a hole out of this wall. And what's going to be nice is if I'm going to end up with having one open AC circuit and a bunch of DC circuits that are open, that in the future, if I ever want to wire anything, I can just go back over here, get right at the distribution box, and then do everything I need to do over here. And these other wires you're seeing hanging down are just for interior lights. And then going down, here's the main switch for most of our lighting. It's going to have the dining room, living room, kitchen, the outdoor light, on the RV door, the outdoor light for the back cargo door. It's going to be the switch 2 to turn on the rear camera for when we're driving. And then I put this switch in, which is a dimmer for the main lights in here. That way, We can have it brighter, we can have it dimmer. And I got two different styles. Like I got cool lights to put over the kitchen dining room, give you a nice bright daylight. And then I got the softer, warmer lights just to light up most of the interior, just to give it a more peaceful look. Then going around this side, okay, first thing we have is the battery monitor. Now, of course, there's an app that goes with this that I can just read everything, but I'm not overly confident about apps. What if your phone dies and you want to check something? So I wanted to have this at a good location to be able to see what's going on. This is the switch for the inverter, and it's the same thing. I could have put in one of those smart dongles, which I actually have one, for the inverter that I could have turned it on and off with my phone, but what if the phone's dead? So now when I want to have AC power, just come in, hit that switch right there, and I have the AC up and running. Then I just put in these two switches here. One is for the exhaust fan that I put in next, well, I had put in next to the inverter. So when I want to kick on the inverter, just come hit the switch, hit the other switch to turn on the exhaust fan, and we'll be up and running. Then coming down, and you'll have to excuse my workspace here, coming down, there we have the solar charger there. Oh, I'm going to get down on the floor for this one, so excuse the shaking. And there's the inverter. Okay, both are mounted on the wall. Both have metal behind them to keep down the heat. And then down there is the exhaust fan for the inverter. It's what everybody, well, everything I read said about how the inverter, how the solar charger give off a bunch of heat. So we wanted to get that out. Now, this is not going to be able to be, you won't be able to see it. Number one, this wall here gets extended a little bit. And as I said, have the refrigerator down here. It will have a door. And now that I'm on the floor, maybe it's a better look at all the wiring down below here. But this will have a door on, so anytime, and you can see, hopefully, and I showed it when I was building this panel, this is where the majority of the fuses are, the circuit breakers are, for the actual power system. And then when we come over here, there's going to be a wall in front of the inverter and kind of extending to the solar charger. Okay, he's getting up off the floor again. And let me go back a little bit. This area under that window is going to be my workstation where I can do my online work. So there's going to be a desk here that's going to be on top. Sorry, just had a coughing fit. There's going to be a desk here where I can do my work, about the width of that window. And then I put in two AC lines over here. And between these two, there's going to be a shelf. And now that may seem like, why do you need 8 circuits? Well, not 8 circuits, there's only one circuit there. But why do you need 8 receptacles just for your desk? What I'm hoping to avoid is using power strips. So on top of the desk, up here, there may be, we have a weather station that we're going to plug in, a radio, weather warning radio to get plugged in, and probably my Echo device, Amazon Echo device will go here, router, things like that will go on that shelf. And then underneath the shelf, I'll use those plugs for the computer, the monitor, and everything that goes with that. So it should be pretty dressed up by the time I'm done. So that's about it. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'm just kind of pleased that may look crazy, but I know where everything is. And I think it's dressed pretty good. If there's ever a problem in the future, it's going to make it easy to trace things. And this will just be where this board is, a little lower. I'll put a shelf in here, in this area here. So we have some storage there and block off all the electronics, but make it easy to remove. So we'll have storage space in front of it, but then again, easy access when we're done. And there'll probably be another shelf below these for above the refrigerator. Subscribe to the channel. When I get it all done with the refrigerator, I'm sure I'll make another video. So the main thing I was going for was access. As I said, behind this wall here, there's a bunch of wires running up and down for the batteries in it, the power distribution. So that's about it. Took, as I said, 10 months, but of course then it was like a month and a half that the trailer was getting the solar panels put on and the windows put in and things like that. And keep in mind, I live in Tucson. You don't want to be out here in 110 degrees inside of a metal box. So it may have taken a while, but let me tell you, there was such a feeling of satisfaction when I had the DC hooked up. I went in and got Melody, said, come here, you want to see something nice, cool? And I had hooked up that Supermax fan that you're seeing there, and it was running. Wow, we have DC, honey. Then I hit the circuit breakers on the distribution box and had her come out again, and I started plugging a heat gun into all the outlets to show, look, we have DC now. So as I said, it was a ton of work, but I'm glad it's done. Next thing on the schedule is doing the ceiling, and on the 15th of March, the technician's coming out to finish up the mini split. So probably the next video I do will actually be all the steps that it took to get the mini split heating and air conditioning in here. So, as most people in videos, like, subscribe, comment, thumbs up. And I hope you enjoyed it. Have yourself a blessed day now.